Okay, this is the third freaking time I've had to do this. NP Network left a comment on Trey Swenton's Five Nights at Freddy's to explained, and I wanted to say that his comment, I wanted to reach out to him. I'm not going to read the comment right now because I've already tried filming this twice and have failed. So I'm really not great at scripting stuff. I'm better at just freelancing everything I say, so let's keep that in mind. So basically his theory is that Phone Guy is the killer, and I do very much support this theory that Phone Guy is the killer. I don't, however, support the idea of Marionette being the killer, and here's why. Now, the reason why is mainly because of the fact that, mainly because of the fact that he dies around night 4. And I do believe that he was recording as a mandatory company thing. Just in case, because he was a most trusted employee and he knew the ropes best, to explain basically what will be happening to any new employees that end up going there if he in fact bites the dust. That being stated, he goes and he works his night shift a week before you do, Mike Schmidt, and at that point the Bite of 87 is the thing that rears its ugly head back into this. So I wanted to say that simply that happened in 87 after the prequel game Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Let's assume that that is in fact a real prequel, and that he did in fact not die during his night shift when he switched with Jeremy, and Jeremy was there in the audio recording.
Stick together, team.
Working the day shift when the Bite of 87 occurred, and that was the last event, a birthday party, and so yeah. Sorry about that. So let's assume that that was in fact logical and reasonable, that he did not die during his night shift in the second, or the second establishment, the second restaurant. Let's assume he didn't die. And then let's instead assume that he kept on working there, but the place closed down and the heat died off. Let's assume that because of the chronological impossibilities of it being any other year other than 87 or 93, which comes after 87 and still allows for the reasonable amount of it paying Mike Schmidt under minimum wage for it, otherwise it would be illegal. Let's assume that that makes it the year of 93, which makes sense to refer back to the year of 87 rather than having it still be 87 and saying the Bite of 87 when it's still that year. So it can't be 87 because that's when the bite happened, and there's no way that the third restaurant was open by then or something like that, when the heat was still very much in effect because of the 87 bite. So let's assume that after that incident happened, when Jeremy was on the day shift, promptly when Phone Guy took the night shift, let's assume that that is how that happened and Jeremy witnessed the Bite of 87. Mike Schmidt continued the employment many years later in 97, or 93, my bad. 93, and ended up getting the recorded messages of Phone Guy, who was actually working there a week behind him. Let's assume that Phone Guy is playing under normal game mechanics, so Freddy's at the door knocking, and this is how Phone Guy died. So Phone Guy's got the door closed for Freddy, and Freddy's knocking on that door. That's the vocal cue. Let's then assume that Bonnie is nowhere to be found, so the her groaning noise, or him or her, whatever the case, that animatronic's groaning noise was not heard, which means Chica must have been the one that made the groaning noise. Let's assume that if the power didn't run out and he was recording it, that Chica is the ultimate killer. We're talking about this theory only operating in in-game mechanics. So the two suspects are Freddy and Chica, and all other suspects cannot be possible because there are issues in the theories that make it impossible for any other of the animatronics to have attacked him other than Freddy or Chica. Now, here's why. If Chica made the groaning noise in the office, Freddy could not have attacked because Freddy's the only one that attacks if the power goes out. So if Chica killed him, then Freddy was in the kitchen because you heard that audio cue. So if Freddy was in the kitchen, Phone Guy was looking down at the pad with the door closed, and Foxy was knocking on it. After that, since Foxy was knocking on it, sorry, my bad. Since Foxy was knocking on it, Bonnie was not present, and Freddy was in the kitchen playing the March song, and Chica got him by sneaking into the office when he wasn't paying attention and looking at the pad at the kitchen. So Chica snuck into the office and threw him out of the pad, and he died by Chica. Now let's say if the power went out, then it would be plausible that he was recording this on a sort of audio recording mechanism, these messages, and they were recovered. So if that's plausible, then let's assume that Freddy was the killer and the power went out, and that's what Phone Guy meant by it being a bad night. So if it was a bad night, then the power went out and Freddy killed him because he's the only one that attacks at night, and the only issue is the other vocal cues. So let's say that
heavy ammo on the way.
Foxy is still at the door, Bonnie is nowhere to be found. He's looking at a camera as Foxy is banging
Heavy
on a door.
available.
He happens to catch Bonnie or Chica on camera. Yes, please. He happens to catch Chica on camera, and the groaning noise from one of them is heard, and then the power goes out, and it's not picked up by the audio recorder, but it would have been if it was a phone call. But it would be an impossibility for it to even be a phone call because this crap happened a week in the past. So how would he call a week into the future to Mike Schmidt's phone? The only explanation would be he was in fact recording these messages as a company mandatory thing, and that he died around night 4 when the power went out by Freddy, and that's how it happened. The official Freddy death theory is on the wiki, called Theories and Speculations or something on the wiki, so go and look that up. How he officially died. I'm saying that whoever it is picked up that audio recording feature and played it back for Mike Schmidt by calling him, or it was a automated system that would call the phone anytime the employees are working there. That being stated, if they were working there at that time, then the audio message would be playing for him all the nights, including the 5th night. I don't know why the 5th call happened in the first place, and there's no direct theories about it either, other than what it says. People have been able to decode it. So that theory is that I believe that Phone Guy, being the killer, was punished on night 4 in '93, and happened to have been killed by either Chica or Freddy. So let's assume that those theories are plausible, and that NP Network's theory of the marionette killing Phone Guy is completely impossible. I also support Phone Guy being the killer because in the cake minigame, the guy who's holding the phone and has a badge is responsible for killing the child, speculated to be in fact the marionette, or the soul that possesses the marionette doll. I don't know why that would be speculated, because of the fact that the music box is so directly influential into whether he attacks or not. So either he has an obsession with this music, or something is not being shared about it. But whatever the case, I don't support that child in fact turned into the marionette. I believe the only hauntings that ever occurred were in the third and final restaurant during Mike's shift, because they were a lot more demonic and totally could have been possessed. But the normal animatronics that hunt you during Five Nights at Freddy's 2 are definitely operating. The new ones are definitely operating under their default commands, and the old ones were a bit glitchy because they were torn apart and withered. So they wouldn't be operating under normal mechanics. They might be glitchy and ignore the fact that you're wearing a Freddy Fazbear suit very often, due to the fact that their only purpose is to be like against adults. They're completely fine or nowhere to be found in when there's kids around. But when there's no kids around, they go around and just attack all adults. I also don't find it very believable that the old ones are in fact 100% not possessed. I believe they are. What I don't get is why they ignore you or ignore the rules they were programmed under. I don't understand why they're there in the first place. They seem to be like... the timeline doesn't make sense, okay? The old ones are there and the new ones are there, but this is in the past. So why are the old ones from Game 3 in the past? When they were they first introduced in 3, or what was the timeline with the other costumes? I never got that explained. Like, why are they there in the first place? Why are the old ones there as well as the new ones? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And why do the old ones act very much like the ones in the first game as possessed children? We all know that the abductions didn't happen yet. I believe that the abductions happened after the events. Actually, never mind. I just proved my own theory wrong. I just answered my own question. Why the old animatronics are there. I do believe they are in fact possessed, and that the 4 children went missing during the events, or a little before the events, or all throughout the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And that afterwards, in the third game, the souls of the children abducted during the time slot of the second game were haunting those suits. So they could have been haunting those same withered suits in the prequel as well, because of NP Network's comment, which said that the children were abducted and hid in the very first restaurant, or one of the children were. So if that's being stated, then all of them were eventually abducted and were haunting the old withered suits throughout the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 game. Anyway, I just wanted to reach out for NP Network and say that I liked your theory and I wanted to work with you, or make a video, or kind of script something or piece something together, maybe, and feature it on either one of our channels, whatever you want. This is just a response to you, so hopefully you see it. I'm going to leave you a comment saying that I responded to it. I hope it's adequate, but I might sound a little stupid because I have ADHD and I'm playing a freaking game, so... And I didn't script this one. I usually script my videos, but I didn't script this one. This one was based off of just whatever I was thinking at the time. So I might go back on my own word or something like that, just because I just have difficulty with that. So keep that in mind when watching this video, and don't leave any hate comments or anything saying that, oh, you're stupid, or there's something wrong with my theory, because, you know, I already noticed that, you know. There's some things wrong with it, and it's unscripted, so.
Heavy ammo inbound.
There you go. I do.
Regular.